Welcome back to Today we will learn about the explosive confrontation that's about to shake Salem to its very core as Sarah Horton Kyriakis prepares to uncover what could be the biggest deception of the year. The medical evidence that changes everything this week promises to deliver one of the most dramatic storylines as Sarah Horton Kyriakis finds herself in a position to expose Sophia Choi's elaborate web of lies. The tension begins when Sarah, utilizing her medical expertise and access to confidential patient records, discovers a glaring inconsistency that threatens to unravel everything Sophia has carefully constructed over the past several months. The pivotal moment occurs when Sarah examines Sophia's comprehensive health chart, a document that contains detailed information about her pregnancy journey. What she discovers sends shockwaves through her professional instincts. The medical records clearly indicate that Sophia was carrying a baby boy, not the girl she has been claiming to everyone in Salem. This revelation immediately raises red flags for Sarah, whose medical training has taught her to trust documented evidence over verbal claims. The pregnancy chart, which would have been updated regularly throughout Sophia's prenatal care, shows consistent markers indicating male fetal development. These medical indicators are virtually impossible to falsify or misinterpret, especially given that Sarah herself likely contributed to some of the documentation during routine checkups. The gender determination would have been confirmed through multiple ultrasounds and other diagnostic procedures, making any claim of error highly suspicious. Sophia's desperate damage control strategy faced with this damning evidence, Sophia finds herself backed into a corner with limited options for maintaining her carefully crafted deception. Her first instinct will likely be to dismiss the medical records as containing clerical errors, a weak explanation that someone with Sarah's medical background would find laughable. Sophia might attempt to suggest that the documentation was mixed up with another patient's file, or that the ultrasound technician made a mistake during one of the gender determination appointments. However, Sophia's most compelling piece of evidence remains the physical presence of the baby girl currently in the care of her adoptive parents. She could desperately point to this child as undeniable proof that she gave birth to a daughter, arguing that the medical charts must contain errors since the living, breathing evidence contradicts the paperwork. This argument, while logically flawed from a medical standpoint, might be her only viable defense against Sarah's accusations. The complexity of Sophia's situation becomes even more precarious when considering that she actually gave birth to a baby boy who is currently being cared for by the Hernandez family. This creates a dangerous parallel reality where two different babies exist in two different households, with Sophia desperately trying to maintain the illusion that only one pregnancy and one birth occurred. The mental and emotional toll of maintaining such an elaborate deception is beginning to show cracks in her facade. Sarah's medical expertise versus deception. Sarah's medical background makes her particularly dangerous to Sophia's schemes because she understands the reliability and accuracy of modern prenatal testing. As a healthcare professional, Sarah knows that gender determination becomes highly accurate after the 4th month of pregnancy, and the medical records would reflect multiple confirmations of the baby's sex through various diagnostic methods. The likelihood of sustained error throughout an entire pregnancy is virtually non-existent. The confrontation between these two women represents more than just a personal dispute. It symbolizes the clash between professional medical standards and deliberate deception. Sarah's training has taught her to trust documented evidence, follow proper protocols, and maintain accurate records. When she sees discrepancies in medical documentation, her professional instincts demand investigation and resolution. Furthermore, Sarah's position in the medical community gives her access to information and verification methods that ordinary Salem residents wouldn't possess. She can cross-reference records, consult with other medical professionals involved in Sophia's care, and piece together a comprehensive timeline that would be difficult for Sophia to dispute. This professional advantage makes Sarah an formidable opponent in any attempt to maintain false narratives about medical facts. The Brady connection and romantic implications. The timing of this revelation becomes particularly significant given Sarah and Brady's improving relationship status and their potential romantic future together. Recent developments in Salem have shown these two characters growing closer, with spoilers suggesting they may soon become an official couple. This romantic subplot adds another layer of complexity to the Sophia situation, as Sarah's actions could directly impact Brady's life and relationships. If Sarah decides to reveal her discoveries to Brady, it would demonstrate the level of trust and communication developing between them. However, it could also place Brady in an uncomfortable position, especially if he has any ongoing connections or obligations related to Sophia's situation. The decision of whether to share this information becomes a test of their relationship's foundation and Sarah's confidence in Brady's ability to handle potentially explosive revelations. The romantic angle also raises questions about Sarah's motivations. Is she pursuing this investigation purely from professional curiosity and moral obligation, or does her growing closeness to Brady influence her desire to uncover the truth? The intersection of personal relationships and professional discoveries often creates complicated scenarios in Salem, where personal and professional lives frequently collide in unexpected ways. Tate's potential discovery and family implications. Perhaps the most intriguing aspect of this developing storyline involves the possibility that Tate might eventually learn about these revelations and begin to suspect Leo's involvement in raising his biological child. This potential discovery would add another generation to the web of secrets and lies surrounding Sophia's deception, creating ripple effects throughout multiple Salem families. If Tate were to learn about the discrepancy between Sophia's claims and the medical evidence, his youthful determination and emotional investment in the truth could drive him to conduct his own investigation. Young adults in Salem often possess a relentless pursuit of answers when they believe they've been deceived, and Tate's potential connection to this situation through his relationship with Sophia makes him a likely candidate to stumble upon or actively seek out the truth. The implications for Leo, who may be unknowingly raising Tate's biological child, could be devastating. Leo's emotional attachment to the child he believes is legitimately in his care would create a heart-wrenching scenario if the truth were revealed. The question of whether ignorance is bliss or truth is paramount becomes central to the storyline, as multiple characters face the potential consequences of Sophia's deception. The broader impact on Salem's community. This revelation has the potential to create shockwaves throughout Salem's interconnected community, where secrets rarely remain contained for long. The medical evidence Sarah has discovered could serve as the catalyst for exposing a much larger network of deception that has been carefully maintained for months. Once one thread of the lie begins to unravel, the entire fabric of Sophia's constructed reality may come apart. The story also highlights the ongoing theme in Salem of how one person's deception can impact multiple families and relationships simultaneously. The Hernandez family caring for the actual baby boy, the adoptive parents with the baby girl, Leo's potential involvement, and the various romantic relationships affected by these revelations all demonstrate how interconnected the Salem community truly is. As this storyline develops, viewers can expect to see characters forced to confront difficult truths, make challenging moral decisions, and deal with the consequences of both keeping and revealing secrets. The medical evidence Sarah has uncovered represents just the beginning of what promises to be a complex and emotionally charged storyline that will test relationships and reveal true character motivations throughout Salem's extended family network. Next, sparks fly as Xander catches Sarah in a tender moment. It all begins when Xander Kyriakis, played by Paul Telfer, still trying to piece his life together after numerous betrayals and bad decisions, shares what appears to be a quiet evening walk with Gwen von Leuskner, Emily O'Brien. The two have had a rocky past, filled with deception, hidden agendas, and failed redemption arcs. But their connection, while flawed, still lingers. But just as things seem to be calming down between them, they stumble across a sight that makes Xander's blood run cold. Brady Black, Eric Martsolf, is seen embracing Sarah Horton, Lindsay Godfrey, in what looks like a deeply emotional moment. The embrace isn't overtly romantic, but there's a softness to it, a kind of intimacy that cannot be ignored. For Xander, still grappling with unresolved feelings for Sarah, this is more than enough to light a fuse. His jaw tightens, fists clench, and jealousy, that old, familiar demon, creeps into his mind. But what Xander doesn't know is that this is only the beginning. Gabbys' sinister seduction later that week, during what was supposed to be a simple dinner at the bistro, Gabby Hernandez, Camila Banis, makes her move. Known for her cunning and ability to sniff out weakness like a shark sensing blood, Gabby spots Xander at his most vulnerable. Seated across from him, with candlelight dancing in her eyes and a predatory smile on her lips, she strikes. Gabby leans in not just to flirt but to manipulate. She compliments him just enough to feed his ego but peppers in just the right amount of sympathy to make him feel wounded and misunderstood. As the wine flows, so does the tension. Then comes the kiss, not accidental, not spontaneous, but entirely calculated. Gabby knows Sarah is nearby. She knows exactly what kind of reaction she's aiming for. And sure enough, just as planned, Sarah walks into the bistro just in time to witness the lip lock. Sarah's retaliation kiss with Brady shocked and hurt. Sarah doesn't storm out or burst into tears. No, this is a new Sarah. One who's learned that vulnerability is a dangerous currency in Salem. Without hesitating, she turns to Brady, who's seated nearby, and plants a kiss on him. The room seems to freeze. Brady, taken aback at first, responds slowly but doesn't resist. Whether it's a genuine moment of comfort or just a ploy to strike back at Xander is unclear. But one thing is for sure, Xander sees it and he's livid. Xander's fury boils over the storm brewing inside. Xander explodes that night. He corners Brady outside the bistro, fists balled and voice trembling with rage. What starts as a verbal confrontation quickly escalates. Old grievances resurface, from past betrayals to stolen relationships, and soon, they're nearly at each other's throats. It takes Gwen and a surprised Roman to intervene before things turn physical. But the damage is done. The altercation is public, loud, and undeniable. Sarah doubles down on her push for anger management. The fallout from Xander's violent outburst is immediate. Sarah, having watched him spiral once again into uncontrollable rage, makes a tough but necessary decision. She confronts him at his apartment and reiterates what she's been saying for weeks. He needs professional help. She even presents him with a list of therapists and offers to accompany him to the first session. But Xander, bruised in both ego and heart, scoffs at the idea. He sees therapy as weakness, a betrayal of the stoic image he clings to. Yet beneath the bravado, there's something else, fear. Fear of facing himself. Fear of change. Gwens Dilemma. Torn between loyalty and love. Meanwhile, Gwen finds herself caught in the middle of a game she didn't ask to play. She wants to support Xander. She always has. But witnessing his unraveling, and the dangerous pull Sarah still has over him, makes her question everything. Does she really love this man? Or is she just addicted to the chaos he brings? Later in the week, Gwen visits Marlena Evans, Deidre Hall, under the guise of asking about therapy for Xander, but it becomes evident that Gwen is searching for clarity about her own choices. Marlena listens carefully, offering sage advice that plants a seed of doubt in Gwen's heart about whether Xander is truly capable of change or love, Brady's regret, or new romance. As for Brady, the kiss with Sarah leaves him with conflicting emotions. He knows it was impulsive, perhaps even manipulative, but a part of him can't help but feel something stir. He's been through enough heartbreak to recognize a kindred spirit, and Sarah, with her mix of fragility and fire, intrigues him. But he's also wary. The triangle forming between himself, Sarah, and Xander is a volatile one, and he's no stranger to romantic disasters. Brady confides in Chloe about the kiss, and she warns him to tread carefully. "You don't need another war," she says pointedly. Gabbys' endgame revealed. Gabby, watching the chaos unfold from a distance, couldn't be more pleased. In a private conversation with Stefan, she reveals her intentions weren't just about creating romantic discord. They were strategic. Distracting Xander, who has unknowingly stumbled into a business scheme involving Demera Enterprises, buys Gabby time to execute a corporate move that could tilt the power dynamics in her favor. The kiss wasn't about passion. It was about power. And Sarah and Xander were merely pawns. What happens next? As the week concludes, the atmosphere in Salem is tense. Relationships are splintering, alliances are shifting, and the emotional wreckage is mounting. Xander stands at a crossroads. Seek help and try to become a better man, or allow his demons to consume him once and for all. Sarah, meanwhile, faces her own reckoning. Can she truly let go of Xander, or is part of her still in love with the man he used to be? And Brady must decide whether he's stepping into another doomed relationship or finding something real in the ashes. And lurking in the shadows, Gabby continues to pull strings, her eyes set on a much larger prize than anyone realizes.